Welcome to the Abundant Life Center's service for Sunday, April 27th, 2005. And today we're going to talk about finding our peaceful center in turbulent times, which feels pretty appropriate for right now. But we'll begin our service by lighting the God candle, and I will light the God candle as a symbol of the one power in the universe called by many names. The name you choose to use is welcome here. Okay, and our opening song today is called Peace Like a River.
Well, we'll
Oh, wait. Oh, it's the
Our
first Sunday
values.
we're going to share our values. Our values. We show up and act with gentle authenticity, vulnerability, caring, and trust. Open and welcoming hearts. Attentive listening to and respect for one another. An intention to connect with the divine, a dedication to community, and a commitment to grow through spiritual practice and service. And now we'll have our song, Peace Like a River, from the Listener Kids. Eric chose that song. Okay, so now we'll do a meditation. Close your eyes, take a slow breath in and let it go. Let your body rest in this moment. The earth beneath you is enough. Stillness is already here. Feel your breath move in and out. No need to change it. Just notice. This is the anchor you've always had. Even when the world frays, this remains. Bring your attention to the soles of your feet. Imagine roots growing down into the earth through the floor, into the soil that remembers rain and silence. You are not floating, you are held. Feel the crown of your head. The sky above is listening. The vastness has room for all that you carry. Between earth and sky, you breathe. You belong. Picture yourself walking through an arbor of blooming trees. The blossoms fall, not from grief, but from grace. Let each petal be a thought, a memory, a fear, drifting down gently, returning to earth. You don't need to hold them. You only need to watch them fall. Here, in the seasoning of opening your heart to everything, you build a temple in breath. Say softly to yourself, like a prayer, I do not need certainty to be at peace. I do not need control to feel steady. What is deepest in me does not die. If fear arises, bow to it. If sadness comes, welcome it with kindness. Each is a visitor. You are the home. Return now to your breath, to the quiet rhythm that asks for nothing but presence. Feel your body, your breath, the space around you. Remember
This stillness is always here, even when war drums sound, even when uncertainty abounds. The root waits quietly beneath the soil. And now carry this quiet like a lantern through whatever path awaits. And when you are ready, gently open your eyes.
All right. So we didn't have a volunteer for a speaker this week. So I volunteered to come up with a topic, and I found an essay that I shared with you in an email. And so I'll read that essay now, and then we can talk about it. I'm just curious how the words in the essay resonate with you, and what you want to share on this topic, or actually we're open to talking about whatever you guys want to talk about today. So it's pretty free form today. So, okay, okay. So in the age of fractured earth and endless sky fires, when the voices of war rise louder than the voices of children, one must return to the unshaken. The Buddha taught that the world is aflame, not only with fire, but with desire, aversion, and illusion. To seek peace in such a world is not naive, it is necessary. For what else is there when kingdoms crumble but the breath that stays steady within? The Taoists say the way bends, but it does not break. It flows beneath war and beneath peace alike, caring not for the crowns of men or the ambitions of generals. It's like water, it yields, but it endures. The Sufi whirls not to escape the world, but to become still within it. Die before you die, they say, which is to say, release the illusion of control, of permanence, of self that clings to victory or defeat. I have walked among refugees who still sing at dusk. I have sat beside warriors who long for silence more than triumph. And in all of their eyes, I have seen this truth. The spirit must find an anchor that no bomb can move. I need the next slide. Okay. Where is this anchor? Not in doctrine, nor in possession. It is in presence, in tending to a fire, in holding a child, in sweeping the floor with mindfulness as if the dust were sacred. When all else collapses, build your temple in breath. When borders are drawn in blood, draw your inner border in stillness. Guard it not with weapons, but with watchfulness, with love that does not require safety to exist. To trust the spirit is to know that what is deepest in you does not die, that beyond fear, beyond ruin, something waits, vast, quiet, and unshaken. Call it spirit, call it Tao, call it the friend, as the Sufi poets did. Call it nothing if names have grown too heavy. But know that it is there always, like the root beneath the winter soil, like the silence after the last drumbeat, like peace. So this little essay really spoke to me because yeah, Eric and I watch the PBS NewsHour pretty much every night, and they, for the last year and a half, they've been opening every night with the things that are happening in Gaza, and I marvel at the people that they interview who, despite the fact that they're in deep despair, they continue to soldier on. They continue to try and create a life for themselves out of the utter chaos and destruction that they're living in the middle of. And I feel that there is a lot of chaos and destruction in our country, but definitely on a less drastic level. But things are crumbling. Things are crumbling in so many different places around the world and in our country. And it's so, whew, where do you turn around and find a way to, you continue to live, you wake up every morning, you keep breathing, and you need to live through your inner self in order to get through the the turbulence that's around us. So I was curious how you all managed to do that for yourself. So if this little essay spoke to you in any way, or you want to share your thoughts on it, we'll open this to discussion. Linda, you want to unmute yourself?
I thought it was, I don't know, it did speak to me. I can't remember all the details of it, but it also aligned so well with our meditation, which I also really liked. So I thought it was very good information and, kind of way to start things. I don't know that I have any big statement for me in terms of keeping a center. I only remember one time, I can't remember when it was, like just in the end of the election or post-election phase, that I felt kind of like attacked from without, hard to keep that center.
Yeah.
Nowadays, I just feel like there's an importance of, I guess, to have the presence of what I believe be stronger, more strongly spoken. So I know that's happening in some ways, and I'm kind of tuning into that and seeing where to go with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I liked that the essay, the meditate. I mean, it's essentially a meditation itself, or at least uh,
Contemplation.
a contemplation. Thank you, Linda. Yeah, contemplation. Uh, hit the three real religions. Yeah, yeah. I was like, wow, this guy gets it. The Buddhists, the Sufis, and the Taoists. Uh, it's just kind of pure.
Yeah.
They're all kind of pure. There's that the big what is it? The big vehicle in Buddhism that's kind of gotten too big for its britches, um, but the original teachings of Buddha and the Sufis and the Taoists are enough. They're enough. They're internally consistent and offer peace. You know, what more do you need
Yeah.
in a spiritual path?
Mm.
Thank you. It was a good essay.
I came up with an internet search, so it's like,
Yeah, well,
don't have the book, but how about you? Oh, Cindy, go ahead.
Well, there was so much in the essay, and I appreciated the visuals in the meditation. I like the little petals falling like memories, and I had a few jump out. Just it's fun to see what memories in that short time surfaced for me. And then I love the picture of carrying the lantern at the end. It said, to carry this lantern with you, and that I thought that was really great, sort of lighting the way, and of love, joy, and peace. Like, and I like that little song because we sang that as Christians, and I think there was some mention at some verse about Jesus or God or something, but it was, this is a peppy little song, and it was nice to hear it just in the context of just those words, peace, joy, and love. So that was fun. And then the whole essay, it reminds me of how I was attracted to fundamentalism, because it did give safety and control and security and all these things packaged in this one faith, and how having that sort of, I don't know, emerging from that little pod of safety and control, and you'd think I'd be freaked out or scared or like, maybe I had a little bit of that in the journey, but for me, the experience of letting go of security and control, well, not that I do it perfectly, but
right.
that somehow still having a sense of, I guess it would be security, but it's in like the meditation. I'm rooted into the earth. I'm connected, and now it's like I don't know quite what that means, or how to carry that lantern. I feel part of my journey is grappling with gratitude, thankfulness for, I mean, my life right now is like pretty great. I got the aches and pains and stuff of aging. I can't do the things, want to go out and, I don't know, chop trees and dig up gardens. And I mean, it makes my back hurt and my hip hurt and like, but overall, I feel so thankful. And at the same time, like Kay, you brought up the war torn, like what you see on the news, and I feel guilty. So between my life being a big feast of gratitude right now, and then watching so much suffering, then I feel guilty that I don't somehow partake of that more, or I'm just gratitude. I have gratitude. It's not me, but then I feel sad and guilty, kind of like, well, how can I share this? So that's my sort of general statement on gratitude and wanting to whatever it means to do my part as a white woman American without war.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's a lot, but
Well, and for the longest time, I would watch the news and, my heart would break, and oftentimes it would bring me to tears. But I came to the realization that that's not the experience that I'm here to experience. I mean, I can experience it peripherally, but my experience is to get like you said, all of the gratitude and all of the joy and everything I can out of what I'm experiencing. And I can have empathy for others and their situations, but I don't have to live it because that's not the path that I'm living. But it's hard not to feel for people who are suffering. And I mean, not that we shouldn't, we should have feelings for them, but we don't have to suffer their suffering because they're the ones that chose that path of suffering. I don't know.
Yeah.
And it's a sort of, everybody has their own little part to play in the play, and being the suffering person in a war-torn world is not the part that I signed up for in this little skit that we're in the middle of. I don't know.
Yeah.
But Ananda, cognitive dissonance, I see it on your face.
No, not cognitive dissonance. A little bit of classical Calvinism sneaking in there. It's like, it's like, our do we actually choose? I mean, that's a big. There's a huge amount of baggage that comes with that concept, that people who suffer have chosen it for whether for noble purposes or banal ones. I mean, woo, that's a huge thing to unpack.
Yeah.
Well, there is a guiding element in all that, and it's energy at the end, right? I mean, when you feel for others, you express a certain energy. When you're happy in your own, you express a certain energy, and this energy participates in the energy of everything around you. And the reality is that if everybody would have a strong feeling of happiness, of wanting to express it, we probably wouldn't be in this situation, because that would be our normal, because the energy is how do you say, infectious. I mean, it impacts other people. If you enter into a room, you can feel it. Is the room happy or not happy, right? And if you are happy inside, you participate and give that out. And some people are very good at that. I mean, some people get into a room and they change the atmosphere just by their presence.
And some people bring it down.
What's that?
Pardon?
And some people bring it down.
Yeah, some people bring it down. So even in our group, I mean, we feel at the end of the service a certain elevation, a certain energy in it, because there's a participation and there's an energy that we all bring into it. We've been in seminars when we were flying at the end of the seminar. It was like we were not on Earth anymore.
For a week.
Yeah.
Yeah, Arlene.
I love the word remembering, because I like to remember places that I've been and people that I've been with and what I've done and what I've learned. And the word remembering for me feels like reattaching to the members of my body. These are my arms and my legs and my body and my experience in my life and what I've learned. And some of the stuff that I remember is spending a whole summer up in the rainforest one summer, up at the hot springs. And at that time, they hadn't gone in and re-owned it and remodeled it, and it didn't belong to the government, it belonged to the people. And there were swimming pools, and one swimming pool was filled with hot springs water, and it smelled like sulfur. You know what hot springs can smell like. And the swimming pool was like big swimming pool size. You could be at the deep end or the shallow end. You could float around and be in there and smell that stinky stuff and do it all. And it was really healing. And the other swimming pool was like pumped in from the creek. That creek was barely above freezing. It was glacier water that had just melted. And when it was pumping, it had this big thing shooting water. And I'd get in the hot springs and feel just like 105 degrees. And then I'd get up there in front of that water that was shooting in from the river, and and it would, my heart would beat, and it would be cold, and it would be an experience of feeling connected to myself. You can believe that. I know what remembering means because I remember what that felt like, and I felt it with my body and my heart and the soul of my being, because there's no other way about it when it's like feels like that. And I remember sleeping on the ground, and I remember why we call it the rainforest, because sleeping on the ground in the rain, when it's raining on the tent, and you wonder where the water's going to come in and how wet you're going to get, and then you wonder about the mud going in and out of the tent. You wonder about a whole lot of stuff, and then you wonder about, what am I going to need? Do I have enough food? I need groceries. I got to make a trip into town in the next morning and go get like some food and something to drink, and I'm kind of making my little list of what I need to do. Then you go out there, and there's this whole swarm of bugs that came, this big swarm of flying critters. And then, you know what happened? A tree fell across the road. Those bugs that came were like termites, and they had caused this big old tree to fall across the road. There's no way out. I'm trapped in there. There's no my food. I'm thinking about my firewood, and I'm in the rainforest. How can you worry about firewood? Well, there's a whole tree that just fell across the road. Well, now I got to figure out how to cut up this tree. I don't have a chainsaw. I got a little bitty hatchet. The hatchet will work, but And so I decided I'm going to go find the park ranger. So I found the park ranger, and he's this guy, this big old redheaded guy. He's from Texas, but he comes and lives there all winter in the woods with his chainsaw. And he came with the chainsaw and cut up that tree. I had enough firewood to last me for as long as I wanted to live there in those woods, And I went into town, and I got my groceries, and I got my stuff, and I came back and filled up my water bottle, and there I was set. I had everything I needed. There wasn't any news, there wasn't any radio, there wasn't any music, there wasn't anybody else, but it was great because I was in there with my friends and the trees and the squirrels. I had these little ground squirrels that they were kind of like flying squirrels, and they go up the tree, and then they come back down the tree, and they go like just running kind of way. And I remember them, and they were my friends. And that's my word, remembering. I remember my squirrel friends and my tree friends and my forest ranger friends, and what it's like to sleep on the ground and listen to the rain and wonder what all's going to get wet. Well, everything gets wet, and I remember being connected and being part of that experience. And I'm so glad I had that. And now that I'm me and I'm in the wheelchair and I can't get around very good, and I certainly can't go up to the rainforest and pitch a tent, but I have done that, and I remember it, and it's in the soul part of who I am. And thank you for listening to my story. And while I remember.
Thanks for sharing that memory with us.
Yes.
Yeah. Laurel or Paul, do either of you guys have any thoughts about today's topic or anything else you want to share? Paul, how was your visit with your son?
Oh, we had a really nice time. Yeah, it was just two buddies here, just keeping things going, and it was really nice. He got back yesterday and got back late. He took the red eye, and it was late. But he's feeling great today. The kids are all happy he's back. And
I'm sure.
so, yeah, in the meantime, my use of my car came to an end. I don't have anybody that can drive it. well, Henry could, but he's got his car.
Yeah.
And I'm not so sure my insurance is that good without me being the owner and the driver, a registered driver.
So are you thinking about selling it?
I sold it
Oh,
yesterday.
you did. Oh, wow.
I sold it to Henry for $1.
Oh my gosh, Paul.
Well, then he gets rid of his junker,
Yeah,
and he drives me around in my car like he's always done.
right. And the insurance is his responsibility, and
Yeah, it's his. Well, I'll help him pay for it. He doesn't have any money, but I'll pay for it just like I paid for my old car, and I won't have any more expense. So,
Yeah.
So did any of the things that we talked about today strike a chord with you, or is there any thoughts you might have on holding a peaceful center in a world that's chaotic?
no, I came in late, but I kind of got the drift. You were talking something like that, you know.
Yeah.
I was impressed by Cindy's talk here. I think that, I mean, we can face adversity, you know, even though we've changed our mental attitudes. But the thing is, when I go to bed at night, I'm still at peace. And I think that's all I need to go through whatever hits me for the day and go back and say I'm okay and go to bed and sleep a good night's sleep, get up and go at it again. That's about all I can say.
Sort of like that saying from the 1960s, be here now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So life is good, even though it's shitty.
There you go. There's a bumper sticker.
But you know, I don't know if you realize, and this is something that I've been paying more attention more recently, is how quick you change between being present, being in the now, or being in the future, in the past, in a worry of something that doesn't touch you, and so on. It's like a continuum, but it's not, because you change states, okay? And if
Yeah.
you start paying attention to that, you can consciously much more stay in the present moment.
Get back to the present.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So Laurel, you are unmuted.
Yeah, I'll probably go back and read it. I didn't see it in my email. I think there's a lot to it, and it's very interesting, and there's a lot to think about. It's a lot to think about for me. Yeah. That was a good one. Okay. What did you use to search it?
I just did an internet search for a poem or an essay about finding peace in a chaotic time. So that came up. All right. Okay. Well, Linda.
Yeah. During part of that, I forget which part, I think it was in the essay, that, or maybe it was even in the meditation, I don't know, but I knew this was our topic. And there was a point where it came to mind, this is what we hear about people, the people we hear about that survive the concentration camps successfully, that they had that center that they carried with them. And then there's an element of, no, I don't want that. I don't have to go through that. I don't want to sit here and have life be that hard, that miserable, or that hard in our country. It was interesting. Just process and that.
But those opportunities for fear are arising for so many right now in our country if you're undocumented. yikes, you know, it's, if you don't have that piece of paper that, excuse me, if you ask me, borders are imaginary and politics are made up, your whole life can change in an instant, and totally beyond your control. And that's happening in our country right now. And
Hey, even if you got that piece
yes,
of paper, if you're only 2 years old,
yeah,
they can kick you
they'll
out.
send you with your
Oh,
mama.
the mother's supposed desire trumps the rights of the child.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's pretty crazy. And uh, this whole political scene is just ripping wide open a lot of the weaknesses in the structure of our culture. It's just bringing them all to bear. And
It comes also because we feel like we should have control and we have no control.
oh,
And the discussion is really on any situation, do you have control or do you just need to let it go? Because if you have no control, you can't change it. If you let it go, you can put positive energy into the process, and that's how I'm looking at it.
Cindy, you had another comment?
Yeah, and this kind of connects with what right now we're talking about, but it stood out to me must have been in the meditation, but about, I think it was welcoming sadness as a friend, which is like one of the lines, is it Rumi that has that whole thing about we're a house and we have guests and we welcome, and like you open the door and there's sadness and you also welcome that in, which makes me think of the challenge of welcoming sadness, but not letting it, like how Eric puts it, like it doesn't change my energy. I don't go around emitting some kind of downer energy. But on the other hand, I like the sense of because I have, well, in the midst of all my gratitude, I get these hits of sadness about something I go on about, but and I think, okay, I need to welcome sadness, but also maintain my positive energy. So that's one of my thoughts, challenges, how to do that.
The
And then
sadness is a visitor. The sadness is a visitor, but you are the home. So you can let them in. You can let them in, but they're not you.
yeah, yeah, that's a good way to put it. It's very physical to me when when I have this big thing. I have a weak, I guess it's a weakness when I'm left out of something that I thought I was part of or wanted to be invited to or included or whatever. And oh, I have a big, well, I shouldn't say how big, I don't know how big it is, but it, it's like a trigger.
Big enough to notice.
Well, yeah, I
Yeah,
get
like,
it. I get it.
oh, look at all my family or my friends or somebody doing something and it's on Facebook and why didn't they invite me? I mean, it's a childish. I know it's childhood issues. So that's a whole nother thing about, I mean, a little example for me, but how to, like what you just said, I like that. It's a visitor and I can welcome it and acknowledge it and still be a positive energy person. But the other thing I just brought up, oh, where'd it go? The statement on the essay, and that part about it says, to trust the spirit is to know that what is deepest in you does not die. That beyond fear, beyond ruin, something awaits, vast, quiet, and unshaken. Call it spirit, call it Tao, call it friend, as the Sufi poets did. But then it really struck me this, it says, call it nothing. Call
Yeah.
it nothing if names have grown too heavy. And I thought, that's one of my experiences of the word God coming out of my fundamentalism. I don't like that word, and I almost don't like any word trying to define it. And I liked it said, call it nothing if names have grown too heavy. And it does seem like that having a name for it is part of our human experience, our tendency to want to give it a name. And like for Christianity, calling God Father, it was like, oh, I'm a child of God and he loves me, and it meant so much. And but now that I like that line about if names have grown too heavy.
Yeah.
But there's still something. I don't know what it is. It's something that drives or that calls to the human spirit to be connected to.
Yeah. Very nice. Yeah. Nice words for wrapping up our discussion today.
I want to
Oh,
say,
oh, but wait.
we have to
please,
wrap it up.
Please.
Uh-oh, where battery is getting low. It's
Oh.
Oh.
But anyway, I wanted to, your comment about the politics and all. I realized it's all agreements, you know, and just like when we formed our church and Marty counseled us, you have to put your stake in the sand. And that's where it might even be in the red bag. I thought I got it out of there. And so you have a commonality, you know, we're Americans or whatever. But the thing is, we haven't been following our agreements. Our agreements were that people only came in if they were documented and had permission. But we haven't been playing by the rules. And now all of a sudden we want to say these are the rules. So it is pretty interesting and confusing that way.
That's so true. It's so important. And we assume that the agreements are implicit, and they're not. They're so broken. The fabric of our culture is broken right now. Big rips and tears in the jeans. It's okay. Well, I think that we definitely ended up with something to talk about today. So thanks everybody for sharing their feelings and their thoughts and their reactions. And we're going to leave you with the song, and you can thank me now for having it stuck in your head for the rest of the day. So Eric's going to play the Rainbow Connection for us. There we go. Okay, so just as a reminder, the Abundant Life Center is a independent spiritual community entirely supported by God's love and your gifts. And if you'd like to contribute, we will send an email with information about how to send donations, or you can donate on our webpage. So now we'll close our service today with Namaste. So we greet each other with, you can unmute yourselves and greet each other with Namaste. Namaste.
Namaste. Namaste.
Namaste. Namaste. You guys are here.